Welcome everybody all around the world, wherever you are watching us right now in the live stream. It's time for round 4 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. And as you can see, it's the futuristic racetrack of MARINA, this very special track where we'll have racing at its best at that weekend. Now it's time for the qualifying session, and I'm really happy, I'm glad to have a man right next to me who is, well, more than an expert. He's a race driver himself. We know each other quite well from the Porsche Super Cup. So great to have you here, Harry King.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah, pleasure to be welcomed back into the commentary booth and to join you here at MARINA circuit for round 4 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. So yeah, what a spectacular venue. Really a very technical circuit. So for these drivers during qualifying, it's really going to put it down to the wire. And yeah, here we see ourselves
here we
in
are.
the booth. Hidden out from the sunlight in a nice air-conditioned room, but certainly going to be a little bit hotter for the drivers out there today.
Absolutely. I'm wearing a little jacket because it's really chilly here in our booth. And belated birthday wishes. Just 7 days ago, you turned 23. Little party?
A very small one, but yeah, had to make the flight out here to turn up. I was lucky enough to do the official testing on the Thursday and Friday, so I have a really good idea of what these drivers are experiencing, what they're going through, and yeah, they're very lucky guys to be taken to the track today.
And as you said, the conditions out there are perfect. It's a little windy, but still, in comparison to what all the drivers have right now on the continent, in Europe and also in the UK, it's just the perfect preparation. And you were also testing here. We had 2 days of testing. And bring us a little bit through it. How was it here on that fabulous track?
Yeah, it's absolutely the place to be out here in the Middle East. The climate is yeah, perfect for replicating what the European season will be like. And yeah, the testing was positive. Really felt good to be back out in the car again, driving this really special circuit. Really very testing, even for myself. Yeah, going for the new tyre runs really was a lot of focus and a lot of attention to detail required. So the drivers are really going to have to put it all together, and with the climate, with the temperature, it will mean there'll only be about a 3 or 4 lap window to produce a lap time.
And you were competing as well in the past in that time Porsche Sprint Challenge Middle East, and will we see you racing as well this season?
Yes, no, I will be doing the last 2 events at Bahrain and Jeddah alongside the Formula 1, so thoroughly looking forward to that. But it's amazing to see how this championship has transformed over the past few years. I've been a part of that process, very short term, and to see it go from a sprint challenge now to a fully fledged Carrera Cup. You see the level of the competitions rising, you see the level of everything that's just being built up, and it's really quite an exciting time for the Carrera Cup Middle East.
And you're also working together with 2 young guys in the team you were testing with. Bring us a little bit through that. Who are these guys? Yeah,
so I'm joining with Jackson Walls and James Wallace, 2 guys from the complete opposite side of the world. Jackson from Australia, nearly won the Carrera Cup Australia title, and James Wallace, recently appointed as the official Porsche GB Junior driver. So that was a title that I had the pleasure of having for 2 years, and yeah, it's exciting to see how they're coping with the Middle East.
And we're seeing the first car leaving the pits. In the pit lane, this is Sam Shaheen, a Pro-Am driver. We see him the very first time in the championship this year. He's from Australia, some kind of car and motorsport enthusiast. And I just had a little chat with him in the lunch break, and he was really complaining a little bit about the jet lag. I mean, it's 9 hours, the time difference. That's quite tough.
Yeah, I can totally relate to him on that. Yeah, I went down to Carrera Cup Australia, down to Bathurst, and that was a complete difference in big shift in time zone. And yeah, I can definitely sympathise for what he's going through currently. But there's no better wake-up call than driving a Porsche Carrera Cup car. And I'm sure when he's out on track, the adrenaline soon takes over. But yeah, for a very short qualifying session, full focus and full determination to produce a lap.
And you said it already, the level of competition really high in this season. And we see a lot of young drivers. Just for the blink of an eye, we've seen Yannis Diak's car, who's 16 years old, will turn 17 in March. So, yeah, they're really a promising future that maybe you have to compete against one or the other also in Europe.
Yeah, no, seeing the progress that they're making in this region in the Middle East. Yeah, for example, Janis Stiak, I raced against him in the Carrera Cup Germany, and seeing how his pace has transformed by doing this additional time in the car over the winter season. Yeah, it's definitely proving that this championship is a big benefit to those drivers who are young and up and coming, and the track time is really the most valuable thing. But seeing Sam Shahin on his warm-up process now, see there's a lot of sand on the circuit now over the lunch break, so this is certainly going to be playing a big role for the drivers. The lap times will not be as quick initially, but like we say, there's still 28 minutes on the clock, so the last 15 minutes you can anticipate and see the Pro and the Pro-Am guys jump into the seats and try to produce a time.
And you are mentioning the AM class. We've just seen also Leo Willert, who is out on track right now, the man from Austria. And what we have to say is that the drivers and the teams, they have to handle the qualifying session and the race with one set of tires. As we see, we see the young guys you were talking about. On the left side, this is Jackson Walls, the young man from Australia. And the other one was James Wallace, your successor in the Porsche Carrera Cup GB. He actually told me he never drove that 992 Porsche car. Here, on the right side, this is James Wallace with slick tires. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, they're all smiling and having a good time there, but I'm sure when they get the helmets on, they'll be a bit more serious. But yeah, it's quite incredible, really. He did 4 test days in the UK, I believe, and not a single one of those was in the dry. So yeah, Thursday was his first taste of slick tire running, and yeah, that's the positive thing about the Middle East. You always know that you're going to be on slick tires and the climate will be appropriate. But yeah, closing up now, the AM drivers are going to be doing another set of warm-up laps, maybe another one potentially, and then they'll be pushing on for their hot laps afterwards. But yeah, Leo Willett setting himself up behind Sam Shahin, maybe a bit of a chase, a bit of a motivation to push a little bit extra for the qualifying run. But for now, these guys are going to be looking at tire pressure sensors inside the car, making sure everything is exactly where it needs to be for when they do need to pull the pin and hit it on the hot lap.
And Leo Willett, spoke with him during the testing days. He was a little unhappy. Somehow he lost his rhythm. And, well, we will see how he will handle the qualifying session right now. I'm sure, as you said, we see the sand. The track is green. That's why many drivers will wait until the track is in the best conditions possible. So we've already seen that in Dubai, that only the AM and some of the Pro-Am drivers were out on track. And then in the last 10 minutes, it will be quite busy out there. But, well, that's the procedure I think they are going to do. And, of course, we would wish to see a few more guys already now on track, but completely understandable.
Yeah, I mean, if it was me in their shoes right now, I would certainly be waiting till the last few dying moments. So, yeah, but you see with the AM drivers, there's a gentleman agreement that the AM drivers will do their qualifying in the first sort of 15 minutes, and then the others will join for the final 15. And that way it ensures everybody's getting their clear laps, and yeah, nobody is disturbed. And yeah, it means that everybody's doing their own thing and they can focus on just a clear track in front. And a 5 kilometer long circuit, yeah, you should be able to find a clear lap, that's for sure.
Yeah. And this is Cédric Chanson, also a Pro-Am driver from France. He's racing with a GP Elite team. He's getting ready for his first run here. As we still see the blue GT3 Cup car with Sam Shahin, the man from Australia. He's also the managing director of a racetrack in Australia, near Adelaide.
Yeah, a very impressive venue that they have there going on.
Oh, you know that track?
I have the pleasure of doing some preparation there.
Oh, great.
In the next coming few weeks. So, yeah, he's been hyping it up towards me, letting me know how great the place is, and looking forward to seeing what they have in store down under. But yeah, as you can see now, starting his push lap, there's still quite a lot of sand on the racing line, so there'll be a bit of adapting there, and the difficulty with the sand for Sam right now currently would be he's got nobody in front to see all that dust getting flicked off, so he may be thinking in the car, hang on a minute, the car's sliding a lot more than I would have thought, but yeah, I think it's all relative to the current conditions, so we'll see how we can fare with that.
And of course, Harry, we see Basha Madini, who could win the second race in Dubai, and was quite a big relief for him as he was struggling before a lot. He's the current champion in the Pro-Am class, and definitely is willing to defend his title. As we see, I think that's turn 13 and 14 when coming under the bridge of the Yas Hotel, the W Hotel. I think that's quite a special part of the track, right?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it feels like you're on a big wide circuit and you get to that sector 3 and everything gets closed up. And especially when you find out that you're looking at the delta, you're on a good lap time. You really want to produce a good time. You've got to know what's the right sort of risk to take, because the risk versus reward there's high risk, but there's also high reward. And as a driver, you're constantly chasing that. But it's also, yeah, big adrenaline boost when you do complete the lap after getting through there unscathed. So Sam, as you can see now, just dipping into the 159, so that's his first push. You can kind of expect to see a sort of a 158 from these guys, or just below the 2 minutes, when they do get their final lap completed. Obviously Leo pushing on down into turn 5. There's a big following, big straight after this, so the exit's super crucial, so you're using all the exit curb, but staying within the track limits, and that's going to be a big discussion point this weekend, especially in qualifying. The drivers are permitted to keep one part of the tyre within the white line throughout the whole entire lap. So obviously a big wide circuit. There's a few areas where you can take a bit of time. So we've got the stewards who are taking a very keen eye upon that. So the drivers are really having to be super precise where they place the car and to reduce the lap time.
Yeah, big off-track areas, no gravel at all. Was just looking at the time that Sam Shahin did this morning in the free practice session. It was a 1:57.406. So the times will be dropping as the conditions out there get better. And I think it's fair to say in the testing days you were the fastest man here during the 2 days. So how important was that for you?
Yeah, of course. You always want to measure yourself against the best, and yeah, the current leader of the championship, Theo Overhaus, his pace is really looking strong at the moment. So yeah, it was a joy and a pleasure to join these guys midway through their season, and for me, having a small off season, jumping back in the car, felt a bit alien to me for maybe 2 or 3 laps, and then I was back into the rhythm, back into the swing of things. You see Sam Shahin's just posted another improvement of a lap time, same for Leo Willett. They've all sort of cut out about half a second from their first initial push lap, and now sort of lap 3, lap 4, this is where the lap time's going to come. So he's going to be attacking the car a lot more into turn 5. See the attitude of the car is really diving at the nose, shifting the rotation and then getting a big exit well within the track limits there. So stewards will be happy with that. And now he's just keeping an eye on the shift lights, putting the gears at just the right time. And also I'm sure he's going to be keeping a keen eye on that delta to see how his progress is.
Well, and as we are talking a lot about the man from Australia, I had a little chat with him this morning after the free practice session. So let's hear what he said for his impressions so far here. Sam Shahin, well, you had 2 days of testings. You had the free practice session so far. How familiar are you now? I mean, you're a new face in the championship.
Thank you. Well, it took a day to work out which way the corners go. That was very important. It's a technical track. It's a beautiful track. Never been here, and really enjoyed it. Just took a while to finish, just to understand the track and where to push and where to respect it more. And yeah, I'm coming late in the piece into this championship, and just trying to measure where I fit against all these great drivers. There's all fantastic, very high caliber drivers in all categories here. So terrific championship, and I'm just proud to be here. A bit off the pace, way off the pace, but let's see how the day goes.
You're competing in the Pro-Am class, and we know that the level there and the racing is just magnificent. What's the target now for qualifying?
Yeah, I mean, a Pro-Am where I come from are a different kind of breed. These are all very young guys that compete in Pro-Am Championship here, which is great. But they're on it, and it's so close. They're all within a tenth of each other. Yeah, look, for me, I'm trying to just, I'm my biggest competitor here. I'll just need to keep improving and learn a technique that fits this track. And if I can walk away with learning just 1% extra to my racecraft, I'll be very happy.
And is it something special to race here? I mean, there's so much Formula One history that was written in the nearer past. Is that something you have in mind?
Yeah, I mean, it's you have to walk around in awe of this place. I went for a track walk a couple of nights ago, and it's almost surreal. It's a spectacular venue. So fortunate that Lechner Racing and Porsche put on an event for competitors at this venue. It's very, very special, very spectacular, and everybody here, I hope, should feel very humbled and very proud and privileged to be racing on a track like this.
Thank you very much, and good luck for qualifying.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Yeah, very humble man, and of course, always when you come to Yas Marina, it's a little bit that Formula One feeling you have here. You know that from the Super Cup for sure, and well, do you have that also in mind? We had that very first World Championship title of Max Verstappen here in a really incredible race that year.
Yeah, no, it's very hard not to pinch yourself when you're driving around this circuit. It's yeah, very aesthetically pleasing on the eye, but also as a driver, the flow of the circuit, is amazing. And I think Sam Shahin, he knows a thing or two about building a racetrack, and I'm sure he's yeah, probably taking this in a lot more than all of us guys are. Maybe picking up a few ideas for his place back home. But yeah, it's always a privilege and an honour to be driving around here. As we see the championship leader there, Theo Overhaus, getting prepared, getting in the zone for qualifying. He'll probably be leaving the pits, just under 15 minutes under the clock, ready to attack to see what he can get.
So we also see Saud Al Saud is preparing. The man who is racing for Saudi Racing. 2 cars in the green and white colors. His teammate Khaled Al Ahmadi. As we still see the car of Sam Shahin, who is the fastest man so far on track. Then we have Leo Willard, and also a new face from China. Now it could become a little bit difficult for me to pronounce the name correctly, but I think it's Li Shengyu who is participating here as well. As we see Jackson Waltz. That's quite difficult for me because you have the J and the Waltz and the J and the Wallace. It's just one letter makes the difference. That's not so easy.
Yeah, no, it makes a bit of difficulty as well when downloading.
I'm happy you say that.
Their data files, you don't really know which one's which. So
okay.
The only thing that sets them apart is the accent and the flag when they got their helmets on. But yeah, you see them getting ready. Yeah, it'll be quite a cool session. They'll be in the car for just a little bit over 15 minutes, so they won't be sweating too much after it, but mentally they'll be putting everything into this and yeah, making sure all the belts are all correct, getting yourself on the right seat marking so everything feels exactly how it was when you were doing the free practice.
Jackson Waltz, who was 2 times on the podium in Dubai, showed us great racing. Still, it was Theo Overhaus who prevailed. And this is the man from China, Li Shengyu. We will see 13 GT3 Cup cars racing today. We will see them on the grid. Race start is 4:30 local time. And we will see if the young man from Germany, Theo Overhaus, can continue his winning series. It was very impressive what he did in Dubai. Did you follow that?
Yeah, I kept a close watch on it, seeing you commentating up there as well. Yeah, it's always impressive, and it's always great to keep an eye on the results and on the live streams that the Carrera Cup Middle East presents. And yeah, he's had a pretty faultless campaign thus far in this series, and looking like a real contender, looking like the favourite for the championship, which, you know, as a driver to take a championship this early on in the season will definitely help boost the confidence and the morale heading into the European season, where he'll be competing, no doubt, in a cup car once again.
And we will meet each other also again in the Porsche Super Cup. So we will do another season, the highest level, pinnacle of Porsche One-Make Series. How much are you looking forward to another season? You were so successful already in 2023, but somehow a little unlucky not winning the title. So I could imagine, well, shouldn't ask you about the target, that's obvious, but how much are you looking forward to competing there again?
Yeah, the target and the ambition is clear. Obviously, I want to achieve the absolute maximum that's possible. And yeah, looking at the performance from last year, the pace was really quite good, really quite strong. So it fills me with a lot of confidence. And yeah, to be out here preparing and training this early on before the season actually gets started in Europe, it's the best kind of preparation that I can be doing. So yeah, putting everything into it, trying to cover off every aspect of the season to ensure that the result is the best it can be. As we see some of the pro drivers and pro-ams now filtering out of the pits, doing their warm-up process and getting the tyres up to temperature. I think a lot of them will be unaware of how much sand there is on the track, so they'll probably have a bit of a shock when they see another car pass by, and maybe they'll think, hang on a minute, maybe I can expect a little bit less grip on the first few laps. So as we see Jackson Wolves coming out of the pit lane is getting very busy now as they all decide that now is the time to roll out. It's quite exciting here to have an onboard camera. It really gives us a great perspective on what the drivers are going through, with Soren Sprang leading the pack out.
Absolutely, this is the train, and unfortunately we have no sector times at all, so we can't tell you then who is out there on a very fast lap, but anyhow, it will be exciting now, and we're all looking forward to the last 11 minutes of that qualifying session. See if it is the man who is now leaving the pits. Would be at least his third consecutive pole position. So I know, maybe even more, but he was 2 times on pole position in Dubai. And this is also something special, out of the pits.
Oh, it's really
coming through the tunnel.
Really quite cool, actually. It's the only place in the world that I've experienced that. And yeah, particularly when you go from the bright sunshine and then you go under the tunnel, your eyes are starting to adjust, and then suddenly you're blinded once again with the pit exit release button, and you know, you're singing through the gears. It's really a special feeling, very unique, very cool, and yeah, it just adds to the specialty of this circuit. And yeah, as we see, everybody's sorting themselves out amongst one another, trying to get them their own bit of space on the track. You know, the last thing you want to do is close up to a car that's slightly slower on the qualifying lap, because that will really frustrate you and ruin your weekend perhaps. So yeah, another lap I would expect from these guys to be weaving and warming up the tyres and the brakes to get everything in line in preparation to pull the pin and see what they got in store for us.
And I'm very thankful that you're here with me in the commentary booth, but somehow I can't lose the feeling that you would prefer to be on track now.
If you gave me a commentary or you gave me to be on the track,
okay,
yeah.
Don't answer.
No, I won't answer
Understood.
that one. But yeah, definitely the circuit. It's, I had the pleasure, like you mentioned, doing the 2 days of testing. So seeing them out there now in the competitive environment, measuring each other against one another. Yeah, of course, a little bit of me wants to be in there, pushing the pedals and putting the car around the circuit. But also sometimes quite entertaining to take a step back and enjoy, you know, the sport for what it is. And yeah, when you get such an exciting venue just like this with Porsche 992 Cup cars, it's quite hard not to enjoy it.
Absolutely. We are waiting for the first times as you said, some guys still waving, trying to bring the right tire pressure, the right temperature into the tires, warming up the brakes. And as we're used to the fact that it's quite difficult to overtake with these GT3 Cup cars, we have these two very long straights here. So with a bit of slipstream, what do you think? What can we expect for the race?
No, I think with the race it's very exciting. The way they've built and manufactured this circuit, there's always a very hard complex just before a big straight, which means as a driver you've really got to be absolutely perfect with how you get through that tight, small complex and then get a very good exit from that. So it means that as a driver you've really got to be on the ball with every corner you're taking, particularly that hairpin that we see in this big long stretch down into turn 6 and 7. As you see, Mardini will go through turn 6 and then through turn 7. There's another big straight waiting on after that. So mix that with the slipstream, it'll definitely produce some exciting racing, but also you've got the tight sector 3, which will not really pose much of an overtaking opportunity. You've really got to just follow the leader through there, but sector 1 and 2, it's game on, and I think the racing will be definitely something that you don't want to miss.
We will be back with racing. The live streaming will start at 4 sharp local time, so -3 in Europe. What time is that in the UK?
It'll be -4.
-4. Okay. Well, that's a good time for racing.
Indeed. Any time's a good time for racing. So yeah, as we see now, these are the first sort of pro and pro-am runners who are going to be starting to put a time in. Jackson Wall leading James Wallace around the final turn. They're just going to space each other out and then pull the pin and start to push. As we see, one of the Saudi racing cars is just on the middle of his push lap as they come through the sector 2. Coming into this tight turn 6, recently redesigned for the Formula 1, but definitely makes it a lot more interesting, coming in with about 260 kph and then rolling the car in, trying not to lock up the front wheel because no ABS on these Cup cars, once again, remember. And then you're into this tight Marina section, which is, yeah, as a driver, you're fully focused on the circuit. You don't take in any of the exciting surroundings, but yeah, your focus here is just clipping that apex, getting the car tucked in, and then immediately shifting the car back to the double left-hander under the bridge, and then ensuring that you've got your eyes looking forward and trying to avoid the wall on the right-hand side as we approach into the final sector. And this will be where you're looking down at the delta, seeing how you're doing, just seeing, oh, do I push a bit more, or do I just keep it a bit in reserve just to finish the lap time? As we see the first competitive lap time about to be posted, we'll see what comes up on the timing screen as it's just been done there.
Yeah, but the times will drop, and that is the man who is fastest so far, Saud Al Saud. But we have in the AM class, there's at least the possibility to use ABS and traction control, not for the Pro-Am and the Pro class. As we are waiting for, here we have the provisional pole, but times will be dropping. Saud Al Saud with a 1:57.894. Of course, we always say it's a stepping stone also for young talents out of this region to get experience with such a sophisticated racing machine like the Porsche GT3 Cup car, and maybe also have the possibility to do the step to Europe, maybe competing in a national Carrera Cup or even in the Porsche Model 1 Super Cup.
Yes, as we join here now with the current pole sitter, Jackson Walls, followed by James Wallace, as Janis Diak puts the car back into P2 with a 1:57.3, but nobody's eclipsed into the 56s yet, except from our current pole sitter, as Overhouse then demolishes that by a further 9/10. So we're sitting on a 56 flat for the current pole position. Of course, this is the first push lap, so the drivers will be building a bit more knowledge, building a bit more experience coming into the second and third lap, taking these braking points a little bit later, as Jackson's pitching the car into turn 6 and 7, staying fully left to ensure he's got a mega exit onto the second big back straight that we have waiting for us. with James Wallace just tailing on behind.
And your lap was 1:54.9.
Was the best,
so what do you think?
Yeah, I think we can definitely expect to see the 55s as Overhaus is now taking to the sector that Jackson just passed through. Again, it's very hard to tell the difference on the performance just by visually, but we've got the timing tower on the left-hand side of the screen to see how they're doing. So I think we'll build up a lot of anticipation. 3 minutes left on the clock. This will mean they'll achieve another 1 or maybe 2 laps to complete in qualifying. Theo Overhaus taking the shortest route down the straight, trying to minimize as much time as possible. Bit of oversteer through there. The rear of the car's complaining a touch. He'll be feeling that in the car and gritting his teeth, seeing the delta just slightly dropping. But maybe he's done a good enough job through the first sector to build up a buffer as he's coming up behind a car in front. That may be a bit of a distraction, maybe a little bit of a slightly bit of dirty air into this final sector. The aero might not be working as well on that big rear wing, which is situated just behind the engine and is not onto a GT3 Cup car.
And how difficult is the fact that these tires will be used also in the race? I mean, of course, everybody's pushing, but on the other hand, you don't want to destroy your tires for the race.
No, yeah, you've got to know when to call it quits and when to keep pushing, as Overhaus then improves by a 55.6, followed by Janis Stiak, who was within the same tenth, only half a tenth away from him. So the two Germans are currently topping the front row at the moment. So we'll see how they deal with that in the race, but there's still 2 minutes remaining, potentially another 2 laps from both of these guys as they both pass the start-finish line. So yeah, I think those times are still going to come down. The tyres will still have a little bit of life in them to still produce a time. Janis Stiak is in a perfect position now, just slightly behind the GP Elite car. He'll probably pick up a little bit of a small slipstream, just flashing the lights, saying, "Get out of my way, get out of my way." But he'd probably be doing him a small favour if he can stay just a bit too far in front of him, that he doesn't get any traffic. And now it's a 1-2-3 for the Germans, as Colin Boninghausen has now posted a 1:55.8, so about a tenth and a half shy of that.
That's amazing. Just a blink of an eye between those two drivers, and as you said it, go out of my way. It's always about having respect, as we have 3 different classes competing here. As we see Janis Stiak, 16 years old. And he's second so far in the championship, but the gap to the leader, to Theo Overhaus, is quite big. So I had a little chat with him this morning, and well, of course, he's going to try everything to get a little closer. And for sure, he's ready for the first victory.
For sure, most likely, as James Wallace has just bumped up 2 more further places, so he's now past the Saudi and Bashar Mardini, so the pace is improving. Let's see if Theo Overhaus has got another lap in store for us. Yeah, let's see if he can get a 3rd lap out of this tyre, or maybe if he chooses to take a cool-down lap and go for once more on the lap following. And the timing tower will tell us in just a moment.
So now it's about the decision here in qualifying. Who will be on pole position for the race in the afternoon? Round 4 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. Right now it's again Theo Overhaus, the man who's leading in the championship. Here he is in the pits, so he won't do any better. So let's see if Janis Stiak or Colin Boninghausen, who is out there, can maybe take the pole position away from him.
Yeah, so he's obviously content and satisfied with the lap that he produced, only half a tenth quicker than Stiak, so the margins are very close. I think Stiak is now, looks like he's backed out of that lap as well. He chooses to save his tyres for race 1, which is probably a smarter move in my opinion. You know, you'd rather have an extra bit of life in your tyres and go for a lap which might not be there. So yeah, it looks like it could possibly be a German 1-2-3, so locking out the podium as it sits for now, but we've got a race in store later on this afternoon to see if anything changes.
That's when things really get serious, and we see that Jackson Walls and James Wallace are on 4 and place number 5 on the grid. Are you happy with the result for them?
I think they would probably be anticipating a little bit better, but
especially I think Jackson Walls would have expected a little better. As we see the checkered flag, which means this session is over.
Yep, so I think the final few cars will be closing up and finishing their laps, but as of right now, yeah, it doesn't look like they're pushing very hard. So they'll be boxing, bringing the car into the pit lane. They'll be probably wondering or maybe scratching their head after this qualifying session thinking, where was that time left? Or instead they might be kicking themselves saying, I shouldn't have made that mistake there. But yeah, as James Wallace has now completed his final lap and is on again a cool down, a smart move to save the tyres and not to take too much life out of them, because a long hot race is waiting for them later on this afternoon. So yeah, doing a good job in qualifying is one thing, but the points are scored in the races, as my team boss Robert Lechner always drills into me. Yeah, the points are made at the end of the race.
Absolutely. And seems like we have this man here, Saud Al Saud, on pole position in the Pro-Am class.
Yeah, very impressive. Very close as well there, split within half a tenth to Bashar Mardini. So yeah, both classes, I think the class balance here in the Carrera Cup Middle East is pretty much perfect. You see how close the class guys are. I'm sure he'll be delighted with that, scoring a pole position. But also, he'll be feeling the nerves a bit in the race later on this afternoon. When you start at the front, there's always an expectation to deliver. But yeah, definitely I'll take starting at the front over starting at the rear any day of the week. As the guys will now be collecting their thoughts on the in-lap, seeing, where could I have done that better? Where could I have improved? Or, in Saud Al Saud's case, that was a good job. I'm happy with that. We'll have a nice relaxing afternoon and then start from the front row in the Pro-Am race.
Yeah, and also congrats to team principal Paul Spooner. Sure, it would be a really big relief for the whole team to finally have a really decent result this weekend here at the Yas Marina circuit. As you mentioned, Bashar Mardini, the current champion in the Pro-Am class, on second. Then it's Khaled Al-Ahmadi, his teammate, on third. Søren Sprang on fifth position. And this is the car of the pole setter. Here we see Khaled Al-Ahmadi. But it's the yellow and red car we will see on the grid on pole position. Again, the young man from Germany who is leading in the championship.
Yeah, I'm sure you can make up a joke there with the DHL that they always deliver, hey? Something like that. I'm sure they're very happy.
Also in the Middle East.
Yeah, I'm sure they're very happy with their partnership with Thierry this season. Yeah, definitely doing a very good job. That's another pole position to add to his list. So I'm sure he's delighted with that, and takes away a bit of the stress and a bit of the nerves ahead of the race waiting this afternoon. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be over the moon with that as we approach the race in a little under 3 hours' time.
So what are the guys are now doing? I mean, you know that procedure.
Yeah, so obviously as soon as the guys come in, as a driver, your responsibility will be, hey, get to the weigh scales. You've got 15 minutes to do that. Make sure that your weight, they'll take it down on a note, and they'll also weigh the cars as well after the sessions to ensure everyone is abiding by the rules and they're within check of the regulations. And yeah, I think all the drivers will then be grabbing a bottle of water. The mechanics will be pushing the cars in the garage, but you also saw that a couple of the motorsport officials were putting these blocks on top of the cars, and so the cars are put in within the parc fermé. If we see, parc fermé, do not touch. Of course, they can touch the car and push it in the garage, but no mechanical work is to be held on the cars until they are told otherwise. So in this moment, they'll be taking components, taking parts off of certain cars, and they'll be checking them and ensuring they're within regulation to make sure that, like every other Carrera Cup, it's the fairest it can be, and this is why it attracts all of the best drivers from around the world, because everyone's dealing with the same piece of equipment.
Here we see the car of Leo Willard, the man who is competing in the AM class. He was faster than the man from Australia. Of course, we will have a chat with all of them before the race starts this afternoon. Hear what they say about the qualifying session. This is the car of Janez Diak, the man who did a great job. Will start in the front row. 16 years old, man from Germany. Well, that was great fun. Looking forward to having you with me again when it's about racing. What do we see here now?
It's just a dashboard, nothing you can really tell from that. He's done 137 laps this week so far, so definitely not short of lap time and doing laps and some mileage. Like you say, 16 years old, very impressive to see the rate of progression. So I think we could be brief with the results.
As in the back, that was the car of the man from China. And here we have the results. It's Theo Overhaus again on pole position ahead of Jannis Diak and Colin Böninghausen. The three Germans will be in front on the grid. Then it's Jackson Walls on fourth, ahead of James Wallace. This is the classification in the Pro class. And then we've seen for a short time the Pro-Am class with the leading man Saud Al-Saud. And the second page we see the man from China. And well, we're looking forward to having great racing this afternoon. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure, Harry. And well, to everybody out there, we'll be back at 4 o'clock for racing here in the Middle East with round number 4 in the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. So we will show you some highlights, and thanks for joining. See you all later. Thanks, Harry.
Thanks, Eric. Bye-bye.